Alright, welcome back to CAD's Tutorials on Revit Architecture 2012. Let's go ahead and get started drawing. Let's get you being productive here. Go ahead and go under the Revit application menu, hover over New, or you can hit the little black triangle there, and Project. And we're going to come over here and pick the residential default. Now there's going to be certain levels that are in here that we're not going to use. It's going to be a very simple building. I mean, it automatically loads, you can see, with footings, basement electrical, finished floor, framing. Matter of fact, if you want to, let's just go ahead and do this. We're not going to worry about a basement. Hold down the control bar, basement electrical. We're not going to do electrical. Framing, second floor electrical, second floor framing. Let's just take those and delete them. So you can just right click and hit delete. Those of you that are now gone. And we can easily recreate those if we need to. You can notice it's bold, first floor, so that's what we're on. So what we're going to do first, now again, this is going to be a simple square building basically. So there's really no use for reference planes, but I'm going to go ahead and put them in anyway. If you have a very complex building or have a building with some different angles coming off of 90 degrees, you're going to want to use reference planes. Reference planes are nothing more than construction lines. You can lock stuff to them, you can dimension to them. They're non-plottable by default in Revit, so you can have all your reference planes in there and don't have to worry about turning them off. They won't plot. You can name them. A pretty good rule of thumb, if you want a reference plane to be kept, for instance, and I'll show you, if you cut a structural member to a reference plane and you delete that reference plane, the cut goes along with it, so the structural member will go back to the way it was. That's for doing like angles and such. If you want to keep it, it's a good idea to start naming it. A lot of firms do this. If it's not named, it's fair game to be deleted because the other guy working on the project behind you has no idea what it's for. So get into a good habit of using reference planes and naming them if you want them to be kept. If not, you can delete them after you're done. So we'll go up here and you can see the shortcut for reference plane is RP, or you can click it off your, I have mine on my quick access toolbar. Yours would actually be here under the work plane, reference plane right there. So I'm just going to draw a reference plane north, south, east, west basically, just to get some grids in there. And we're going to do some basic exterior walls. So of course you're going to start a building, you need some walls. So I'm going to click on the wall tool, and I want to go ahead and use this brick on wood stud. It's loaded by default, so go ahead and select that type of wall. There's a couple different ways to do walls. You can draw lines, you can do a rectangle. I want to use the reference planes on purpose, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this pick lines tool, and my building is going to be 24 feet by 28 feet, let's say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset this half of 24, which would be 12 feet, and I'll show you why I'm doing this. You can see that little blue line. If I go to the right of this reference plane, that's snapping that right where I need it. The other thing I want to do is on exterior walls, I never use wall center line. I almost always use finish face exterior. That way the overall dimensions of my building will always be the same if I happen to change wall types from brick to, I don't know, stucco. Of course stucco's thinner. I don't want my building itself getting smaller. The inside would actually grow a little bit. So I use finish face exterior. And then let's go ahead and connect this to the roof. That is my level that I want to connect it to. So if I come here and just select, there's one wall. Select here, there's another wall. And then up and down, it said we were 28 feet, so half of that would be 14 feet. And I can do that, and I can do that. And there's basically my building. Now what am I going to do with this? We're going to use a trim command. Now if you go to modify, trim, which is right there, TR, as you can see, is the shortcut key. So if I was going to type in TR, you're just going to simply pick the sides of the wall you want to keep. Well, there's my outside corner, so I want to keep that side of the wall and that side of the wall. And there you go, it trims it. Same thing with these two. Now if I was to pick this side and this side, see how I did it backwards? That's not what I want. I want this side, and that side. So there you go, there's your building. Remember, I'll go ahead and put this on medium. I can see a little bit more detail. So there's my building outline. Simple enough. I've already got the startings of a building going on. Now, one thing I do want to bring your attention to, you can see this thick line for the exterior of my wall is missing right there. That's because that wall joint. Sometimes Revit will do this. It's not a big deal. There's a wall joint tool right here. You can change how it tells you all the different types of wall joints that you have. You can do a butt, miter, squared off. If I was to pick that, and you can see it hover around that intersection, select it, and I want to set miter. And then click out in the white space, we'll cancel it. And there you go, it fixed that. Same thing over here. I'm still active in the command. Select it, choose miter, click out here in the white space. And if you hit modify, modify is basically escape. Same thing. So you can hit the escape key a couple times, or you can just hit the modify button. It just puts Revit ready to do another command. And that fixed that wall joint. Sometimes Revit does it, sometimes it doesn't. I think it has to do with how you trim. But just keep an eye out for it. You can always change your wall joints. It's not a big deal. So there you go. I've got some exterior walls. Now, I had to go up to the roof level. Let me show you a little something about levels. If I go to my east elevation, remember I can click it here in the project browser, or I can simply double click here. There's my east elevation. You notice this wall started on the first floor, which is right there, and I made it attached to the roof, which is right there. Now, that's my levels. That's telling it to attach to that level. Now, if I wanted to have 10-foot ceilings, I can come in here and edit this to be 10 foot. And then I want to have a, kind of do some math in my head. Say I wanted a 10-foot second floor. That would be 20 foot, right? So you go 20 feet and boom, and you notice that my wall stretched up with my roof layer. I'm sorry, roof level. The wall is attached to this roof level. That's the connected height. It's telling you when you pick this wall, you can look in the properties. It's going from base constraint first floor, top constraint, roof. And that's what you want in this particular project. Now I'm going to make another change because I've realized, you know what, I'm going to have a floor system in here. It's probably going to be about, I don't know, say 12 inches thick. So I want 10 foot clear from my first floor. So I want this finished floor height from second floor to first floor to actually be, let's say, 11 feet. Oops. So if I make that 11 feet and I still want to be 10 feet here, that's going to have to be 21 feet. And that's how easy it is to change your heights and levels. You can do it at any time during the project. I can bring them back down. It's not a big deal. All these right here are from finished floor. All these elevations are always from finished floor. Now notice over on this end, I've also got a temporary dimension in there. I could very easily say, okay, I want that to be 12 feet in between floors. And it will automatically give me 12 feet here, and this of course will change to 23 feet. 12 feet above 11 feet. But I just want 10 feet. So I'll put that back down to 10 feet. So that's a little quick thing about levels. So let's go ahead and continue. So I'm still on my first floor. Let's go ahead and put in some more walls. And this time we're going to do some interior walls. Let's do 4.5 inch partition walls. And right now what I'm going to do, you can see I've got that temporary dimension. I want 11 foot 4 inches to the center of my wall. Now if you notice when I'm snapping, if I pull it goes 6 inch increments. If I zoom out further, I have to go out even further than that. See, it's going 4 foot, 12 foot. If I pull a little bit more, 20 foot, 24 foot. The further in you zoom, the tighter your increments will become. See, those are 6 inch increments. If I zoom in even further, now I've got it every inch. And that's a setting that you can come over here under Manage, Object Snaps. This right here, dimension snap increments 4 foot, then it goes to 6 inches, 1 inch, and then 1/4 inch, and you can add more to it. Same thing with your angular dimension snaps that I showed you earlier. You can change those right here and add to them. And that's all based on zoom percentage. So the further out you're zoomed, you don't want to go an inch by an inch when you're zoomed this far out, and Revit knows that. So That's another cool thing to keep an eye out for. So yes, interior walls, we can go back into the wall command, do my 4.5 inch partition walls. And I usually just kind of eyeball quick, pretty close. We'll do 11 by 11 foot 6 because I've got my temporary dimensions, so I can still, that's right on the line, so it's hard to see, but that's 11 foot. I want this to be to the outside here. And I want that to be 11 foot 4. There's 11 foot 4. This one, let's go ahead and make it 11 foot 8. I'm just kind of arbitrarily doing these just to kind of show you that goes through the center line already. I moved it to the outside there. And if you can't pick something, tab key will rotate through different pick points until you see it highlight in purple, then let go. Make that one 11 foot 8, and there's my room. So let's go ahead and we'll continue this room over here. There's a couple ways we can do this. I can come in here and extend it to this wall, that wall. So now it's extent, and then I can come in here and split this wall right there. So now it's 2 separate walls. And then go back to my trim command, and then that leaves my other wall there. I can also, just like I created these walls off this plane, I can create this wall, and I can do an offset. Let's say 4 foot, let's call it 4 foot 2 inches, and there it is. So you can offset off a wall, you can offset off a reference plane. There's a lot of things you can do. And then again, you want to double check your dimensions. See that also, I want it to be 4 foot 2 inches instead of 4 foot 4 1/4. So there's my hallway right there. Let's go ahead and add a little nook here for a washer and dryer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wall and I'm going to come back 5 foot 6, and I'm just going to, that's the beautiful thing about Revit. You don't really need to be perfectly accurate because you've got your temporary dimensions right here. I want to make that 5 foot 6, and I want this to be, I don't know, 2 foot, let's make it 2 foot 2 deep. And you can put a washer and dryer right there. So now we've got some basic walls. This will be a bedroom, a little bathroom right here. Washer and dryer will go there. I have no doors. So I'm going to go to my door tab. Now doors are host families, so there is some doors already loaded in here. If I didn't have the correct door loaded, I can always go to load family. It's going to open up the default US Imperial content, and I can go to doors, and these are all the doors, and you can see the little preview here that are loaded in Revit. All these doors come in Revit already. So if I wanted to, let's say, let's do a glass door with some side light with some lights. There you go. I want that door. Well, it's loading it. And of course, it's not going to load every size because of file size restrictions. Let's go ahead and do a 36 by 84 inch door there. And you can see it's on the wall. If I go to the top of the wall, it'll flip. If I hit spacebar, it'll flip side to side. So let's just go ahead and put that door in, and it cuts it and tags it automatically. I can turn the tag on placement off if I chose to leave it on, and there is your door. And of course, I can always take my temporary dimensions, and I can, let's make that 10 foot 6 inches. Why not? Just move it over an inch. I can always place it that way. So there you have it. If I wanted to make this door, say I wanted to make it a 42 inch door, well, I can go to edit type and make sure it's not already in there. It's not. Very simple. Duplicate it. Now be careful. You always want to duplicate. You got to be very stringent on this. If I was to just change the dimensions on this 36 by 84 door and not duplicate it, any one of these doors, since I'm editing the type of the door, any door named 36 by 84 would change. That's probably not what I want. I want to duplicate it and create another door. Let's call it 42 by 84. And everything's going to be the same except for the width will be 42 inches. Okay. And there you have it. Now it's a 42 by 84 door. You can see when you pick it, it's telling you it's a 42 by 84. And we can even measure the width. It should be 42 inches. So that's a little something on families. That's putting in a door. On the next tutorial, we're going to go ahead and finish up the bathroom, put some more doors in. The front door, we'll put a fireplace in here, some stairs, and work on the second level. Thanks for joining us. Visit cadease.com and hope to see you on the next tutorial. Thank you.